It's very different for me. It's like at the beginning of a climbing day, you kind of know what you're in for, and when you go out fishing, you have no idea. Admittedly, I probably stayed away from fly fishing longer than I should have because it was intimidating. I was like, you can't fly fish with one hand. There's rods and reels and lines and stuff. And then a couple days on the river and I was just like, oh, you know what? I actually can do this. I'm not the quietest caster when it comes to that, or like my strip is really like loud and janky, but I still catch a lot of fish. And so I don't know what held me back for so long. My name is Maureen Beck and I'm a professional rock climber. People would think that I get my sort of adrenaline rush and mental challenge from climbing, and then fishing is this zen calming thing, but for me it's the opposite. With rock climbing, I know my abilities, I'm in control, like the rock doesn't move that much, it's very predictable. Whereas with fishing, you're just like, I think there's a fish there. Oh, there is. I think he'll take my fly. Oh, you little bastard. I rage fly fish more than zen fly fish. I do a lot of work with adaptive climbing as like one of my many careers. And through that, we get a lot of folks that have had PTSD or the traumatic events. And climbing for them, they often say, and I feel this too, like when you're climbing, you're aware of the rock, your partner, what you have in front of you, and everything else melts away. And you don't need to have a traumatic event in your past for that, to feel that, like it's just, that's what happens. And I found something similar with fly fishing. Even if I'm raging and my knots all tangled and everything, like my focus is still 110% there. I'm not thinking about the bills I have to pay or the work meetings I have to schedule or my to-do list. It's just about you and the river and fishing. And so climbing and fishing have that very much in common. Whenever I do a climbing road trip, I almost always bring my rod and reel because you never know what you're gonna see. Especially, in Colorado in the West, it's so easy to just pick a river, head down the dirt road and see what you find. And I think fishing's kind of the perfect dirtbag sport. And we all look at fly shops full of stuff, but kind of like climbing, you don't need all of it, and you can fish as simply as you want to. And I think the state of fly fishing is probably where climbing was maybe 25, 30 years ago, and it's still very white, very male, very abled. And I think we're on the cusp of changing that. Climbing still has a long way to go, but they're progressing towards that goal of just inclusivity in climbing. And I think fly fishing has started this movement between women's meetup groups and nonprofits that work with low-income at-risk youth. So I think there's just this bigger cultural awareness of what fly fishing really is and how anybody can do it.